This is Masters of the Market. I'm Johnson Andrews.
And I'm Eric Clary. Let's get into it. We have a wonderful local guest who has chosen to spend an hour with us this afternoon. Ashley Mathewson, who is a fitness extraordinaire. She has a no bullshit vibe, says it right on her social media. So we're super excited to have you here today. Thank you for joining us. So without further ado, I'd love to hear a little bit about, tell the audience what your business is called, how long you've been doing it, and just give us a little intro into who you are and why we've been so excited, I guess, to have you come join us on our show today.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. So Fit Collective is my main business. Fit Collective is a health and fitness gym, and I've had it for just over 10 years now. We just celebrated 10 years at the end of August.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you. So I originally started back in 2012. I started CrossFit. And I found this from actually an ex of mine. His mom was like, "Oh, you like fitness? I heard of this CrossFit thing. I think you'd be good at it." I'm like, "All right." And I went and I got my ass handed to me in a workout. My partner at the time, she was 54 years old and like my partner in the workout, and she crushed me. And I was like, I think I can do this. I think this is a lot of fun. And so I joined a gym, and the owner of it was a dick. And I was just like, I can do this better than he can. And so myself and two others at the time decided to open a gym. Had absolutely no idea what we were doing. None of us had any business experience. We had no money. We just kind of went at it aimlessly. We sat in my living room for weeks coming up with a business plan, a strategy, outsourcing, investors, and we just jumped right in and made a lot of bad mistakes right off the get-go. We got a really shitty investor. Anyway, a few months later, we ended up leaving, literally closing that one location 3 or 4 months later, and was like, we made some really big fucking mistakes. And then we ended up opening a new location, twice the size, and it just exploded from there, which was fantastic.
Awesome.
Throughout the years, we had a couple other partners with us, and then it came down to 2 years ago. I was like, I want to do this on my own. I knew that I was all in, and the people who I had been working with previous, they just weren't. They weren't all in. They weren't 100% invested, not only in the business, but the people, the members, the staff. So I decided I wanted to buy out my partner, and that was 2 years ago, and it's been great.
Cool. Good for you. You touched on a bunch of points there, and I know this guy's probably got some good questions for you. Okay. So before, and I think an important part of what we want to remind folks is following your passion might not always be the best business move. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? So you're passionate. If you're competing with 45 other passionate entrepreneurs doing the exact same thing in a relatively small market, you could potentially be setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
I don't want to discourage people from not looking at the competition and figuring out how can I do this better, right? Because most entrepreneurs don't come up with a brand new idea like Elon Musk. They see the competition, they study the market, they don't overanalyze, but they analyze enough in a way to determine there's some major variables and factors that I can do differently and I can do better to tap into the market. So before you sort of dove all in, which is obviously really cool, and that's kind of this guy's whole game plan and what he's done, what did you understand about this Niagara, St. Catharines market aside from your own bad experience? So you knew that there was options out there that if you didn't like it, other people probably weren't going to like it. But what made you comfortable enough, aside from that fire inside you that was excited and passionate about it, that made you comfortable enough? Because I know you have a family and a husband, all that. We'll get into that after. But to sort of dive in, what gave you that confidence? Aside from the fact that you loved it, knew it, what made you feel comfortable enough to realize you might be able to really succeed at this?
I think that's a multi-angle question. So first thing was I had a really, really shitty like childhood and upbringing, and there was like nowhere pretty much until I found CrossFit that I felt welcome, accepted, that I could be myself, or that I felt that there was something that I could be really, really good at. And then when I got into CrossFit, like I've always been into sports. I played hockey since I was young, snowboarding, soccer. Clearly with my height, I didn't do very well at basketball or volleyball. But I always knew that it would be something in athletics. I went to school to be a cop. So I was previously married. So he and I both got hired on with Toronto Police at the exact same time, and I ended up not going through with that because I have a lead foot, I had too many speeding tickets, and I got held back from my intake.
Oh, wow.
But it was a blessing in disguise. Like, thank God I did not go through with that. So there was a lot of things that kind of pushed me in this direction, but the one thing I knew is that not only did I love health and fitness, but I loved how it made me feel as a person. I felt capable. I knew that, I was always strong, but what I found when I got into this in my early 20s was after you get out of high school, university, college, if you're into sports, you have camaraderie, right? As soon as you get out of that and you're an adult, you're like, what do I do now? Like, where do I meet people? How do I connect with people, right?
Your schedule for your day changes where when you're in sports a lot, it's set for you. And then when that gets taken away, it's like you're driving down the highway, but you take every exit, right? Because you don't have that same routine. But the biggest thing people lose, me being a former athlete, is a sense of family, community, and people that are there for you all the time.
All the time.
Right.
And that's exactly it. Like when you actually find that, again, through when you're growing up or through college, university, that kind of stuff, and you connect with those people, and then all of a sudden it's gone, you kind of feel like you don't know where you're going. And that's where people really start making poor lifestyle choices. They get into shitty habits. They start letting themselves go, but not just like the physical letting themselves go, because health and fitness has such a huge component for mental health and emotional health. So for me, I was like, more people need to be able to have a space where they can come in and they can feel connected. They can feel welcome. They can feel proud of themselves, and they have somewhere to go where they're celebrated. Because that's the other thing that I found is adults, like how often do you have somebody in your life right now tell you, I am so proud of you. You've done an amazing job at something.
Every time I talk to my mother.
Okay.
You're lucky.
You are lucky, right? But it's rare. Like it's so rare.
That's a great
right?
Great
and when
point,
we take our coaches through, so we have a coaches prep program, that is the number one thing we hit home is like, you need to make these people understand that they have reason to be proud of themselves for what they are capable of doing. And they might have a goal and they might not be there yet, but we're going to help them get there. And that's something else that they can feel extremely proud of and capable of, and that they have 200 people who are going to be standing cheering them on the entire time.
So you're building people's fitness, but you're also building their emotional self-esteem.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And then so for you saying the person that you used to train with, they were a dick.
Yeah.
Right? Well, the real differentiating factor there when you start looking at it is how you make people feel.
Right.
And that's no different than maybe what we do. Like the motto of my company is that we're in the people business. We just happen to do mortgages. At the end of the day, you provide a service and hopefully you get people fit, but you want to make it an environment that they want to come to. And if you do that better than your competition, you're going to become more successful. It sounds like that's what you saw as an opportunity.
Absolutely.
And it widens your demographic, right? Like I'm somebody who wants to get back to a certain physical shape that I've been for a majority of my life, but I'm very extroverted. So I can walk in, I've done CrossFit. I did it leading up to 2020, and I wasn't in like the best shape of my life, but I felt the best that I'd felt in my adult life. Yeah. And I did it for like 13, 14 months, and then I went on a 2-week vacation and fell off. Yeah. So, but my point is I can hop in, be around a bunch of new people and be fine. It take me 5-10 minutes to figure out, the space environment I'm in and feel comfortable. But there's a lot of people that aren't like that. Right. So I think that's where it needs to, and what you've touched on is how do I widen the audience that are willing to come here? Because a lot of people that will believe, maybe get 100 people that all see the fitness results in your programs and see and believe that could be beneficial for them. But if there's other missing pieces, like, is there motivation? Is there reassurance? Is there camaraderie? Like all those other pieces might be what brings somebody to your gym, whereas others aren't offering it in the same way. Like you said, there's maybe some resistance on emotions or the way with the word. I'm kind of rambling here, but the way the instructors instruct is uncomfortable and uneasy. So do you have sort of different instructors maybe focus on different people?
No.
So it's okay.
No, the way that we do it is, one is our marketing. So if you go onto our social media, you'll see that it's very intent and impact based, not sales based. Like, yeah, we talk about sales. Like, obviously, this is
Sure.
what we offer. These are our programs. These are our prices. We don't hide our prices or anything like that. And we're more expensive in comparison to some places, but it's because of what we put into it. So all of our coaches have to go through a coaches prep program, which makes sure that they are aligned with how we want to treat people and how we want to make people feel. Everyone that comes in, they either go through a free class, which we avoid more than anything, because we want them to go through something called a free intro, where it's one-to-one.
Yep.
It's a very welcoming, non-intimidating talk.
And you kick their ass later? No.
Yeah, we do. But we make them feel welcome. We make them feel comfortable, that this is not an intimidating environment, even though it seems like it. But I talk about the fact that, like, in our regular class, we have youth programs, we have 60 plus, we have postpartum. But in our regular class, we've got 16 to, like, our oldest member, 72. We have so many different people, and we take the time to showcase that on our social media instead of showcasing the 1%, which is our fittest, doing the crazy lifts and the crazy gymnastics. Like, we showcase everything, but we're targeting just everyday regular people who want to connect, who want to build meaningful relationships.
It goes back to it being a collective, right? Rather than just the one fit person.
Right.
It's a lot of different people looking to work on their fitness and become healthier, whether it be through their lifestyle or choices, right?
Yeah.
The postpartum, like, I know a lot of women are experience that.
Yeah.
And I think it's been an issue for many of years, but obviously, as we know, mental health and has become a larger discussion these days than in the past. Are there any of your competitors that if I was to go on their websites, that address postpartum, for instance, one of the topics you just is that so it's not sort of unique to what you're doing? Because I know
we started it in 2020, right before the pandemic hit. So myself and one of my coaches, Shannon, her and I developed the program, and 3 weeks into it, COVID hit. So her and I took everything online. I learned how to do video and editing and all sorts of stuff that was very foreign to me at that time. Pivoted, exactly. And so when we did that, another local gym kind of followed suit. And then we actually partnered with her. We're like, you know what? We all have something really unique to offer between the three of us. And even though they're a different gym, I know them well. They're great people. We're like, we can kind of work together to help service tons of women in Niagara who need this, because it is so important. So we partnered together for about a year, and then she went into more of a like rehab and gentle approach with her program, and I went more of a recovery and strength component for women who are looking to rebuild strength to get back into sport. So we both have a similar approach, just a little bit of a different demographic that we're trying to target.
And then so with the pivot that you mentioned, it seems like you've done that a couple times. Obviously, being in business as long as you have, we were talking off camera about the fact that you've actually moved locations a couple of times, but now you're in the process of building out your own gym.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear more about that, because it seems like there's been a couple different ways that you faced adversity, but then you take back control of it, which I think is important for any business owner, right? Because you are your own boss. I'd love to learn more about what you're doing now.
Okay, so this is actually the first time I'm going to be talking about it.
Fine.
Our members know. So all of our members know what's going on. We've kind of kept everything behind the scenes. So our landlord basically was like, at the end of your lease, your rent's almost doubling. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, there's no way we're going to continue paying rent. We've been paying rent for 10 years, and it's a lot of our hard-earned money that's gone down the drain.
Do you mind sharing the numbers, just to give people?
So $12,000 is what we pay right now.
$12,000 a month.
Yeah.
Yep. And how much? What's the square footage on that?
8,000.
8,000 square feet. Okay.
So we are our last location was 10,000 square feet, but very, very industrial warehouse. Very shitty location in St. Catharines. And there was a lot of homeless people, a lot of drug addicts, and a lot of dead people who were in our parking lot. And we're like, we can't keep running a business here.
So are you talking about a parking lot or a cemetery?
Right. It seemed like it. Yeah. And it was getting really, really bad. So we decided to move right after the pandemic hit. We took advantage of the fact that we could get out of our lease at our old space, and we got a good rate to start in our new location, which is on Ontario Street.
Which is currently where you are.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah. Hindsight 2020, big lesson learned. If we had have known that the pandemic was going to last as long as it did, we would not have made that move. But again, nobody could have known that that was going to happen.
Yeah. Learn as you go, right?
Right. So in the summer, my husband and I were just like, what if we just built the gym in our backyard? And we just kind of joked about it. And I'm like, no, there's no way. Like, I love my members, I love my staff, but I'm like, I don't want them in my backyard 24/7.
Yeah.
But then he kind of like threw some more ideas at me about building it more to be like a resort. And I'm like, okay.
A retreat.
Okay. So we slept on it. And the next morning I just woke up. I'm like, let's do it. Let's just fucking do it. And he's like, okay, let's do it.
This was less than 24 hours decision.
Less than 24 hours. And literally
correlation.
Within a few days, we already had our architect. So we built our home in 2018.
Okay.
And my husband's just brilliant. And he's just so smart. So he GC'd our whole home build.
Wow.
From dig day to open or to keys was 4 months.
Wow.
So he literally had his Google spreadsheet ready to go. He had done it in 3 days, got in touch with almost all of our contractors to build the new space.
Yeah.
He and I had already sat down a couple times and mulled over an idea of what it would look like in our backyard, knowing how much acreage we have, which we have 3 acres. So this is being built on the back 1 acre.
What's the zoning of your guys's?
I'll get into that in a second. I'll get into that, okay? So, because that was tricky too. So anyway, we built it all out, we drew it all out. We got in touch with our architect who did our house because he was fantastic to work with. And yeah, like we have sod going down literally right now. The trusses just went up yesterday. Half the roof is done.
That's exciting.
So it's been 2 months of building. Our pool liner is getting done. It's getting filled today. So the purpose of this is not just a gym. So it's two-sided. So we have Fit Collective, which is the health and fitness side, and we have the Yard Social Club, which is an event space, retreat, workshop, business-to-business space.
Cool.
So the interior of the gym is designed to be multi-purpose and multifunctional. So it is set up like a gym, but the way we have the floor laid out, it can be converted into an event space with a room divider.
Oh, wow.
We've got a mezzanine up top, which can also be subbed as an Airbnb. The yoga studio is a studio for our youth classes, yoga, and I'm also a photographer, so it subs as a photography studio as well. So everything that went into the design of this is very multi-purpose because we have multiple streams of revenue
that you want to optimize.
That we want to optimize in this one location. So the exterior is, again, event space. The way that we have it laid out, we were talking before about Phoenix. So every time we go to Phoenix, we love going to a place called Culinary Dropout. And the outside of Culinary is like an adult playground. They've got cornhole, they've got ping pong, they've got bands, they've got all sorts of stuff. So the way that our exterior is designed is, think of a mixture between the new outdoor space at Pillar and Post and 13th Street Winery.
Very cool.
So very relaxed, chill, the adult connection where if you were throwing a party with you and your buddies, you rent the entire space. You have access to pool, sauna, cold plunge, 4-pad driving range, cornhole, ping pong, all the, the lounge area. And it's meant to bring local Niagara all together in one space. So I'm building partnerships there's 2 wineries, 416 Coffee, Edible Options.
416 daily port. I live in Port Louise, so I go daily.
Chris is fantastic.
Yeah,
so we're building local partnerships so that we can bring a lot more of Niagara to one central place. So we're not just we're not just supplying really good things that we already love, but we're driving our members to some of our favorite places.
Going back to a collective, it's a collective of experiences and allowing people to all be there.
Yeah.
So I guess one of the cool things is how did you go about, because obviously you're talking, very good overview of what it is you're doing, and that's great. Obviously, logistically speaking, I know there's tons of that. So if you're comfortable sharing, as a small business, what did the funding of this project look like? And B, did you guys know right off the bat that your property would allow for some commercial use? Did you have to do any zoning changes? What did that look like? Because there's a lot of people out there that might not have the resources to go out, or they might have it, they just don't want to go spend all of their retained capital on leasehold improvements in somebody else's property. They want to build something for themselves. They might have a similar, property as you. Yeah. And they've just never thought of it. So I think this is cool for people to maybe go, wow, we got this big two-bedroom or two-door garage in our backyard that we don't really use. It's not like we have a sports car sitting in there. Yeah. That could be converted to a space to accommodate something they're currently doing, something they want to do. So what did that look like? Like, was there an opportunity to refinance your property to use some of that money? Was it business retained earnings that you used? Just an overview, because there might be some other people similar situations as you guys. I'd like to hear a little bit about that side of it.
So again, I'll bring my husband into this. He should be here with me, actually. But we have a Manulife One mortgage. So it worked in our favor very, very well. You obviously know what that is.
Yeah, the people that, okay, yeah.
So what we did is because of when we bought built our property, compared to what prices are now, we got a valuation done on our home, and we were able to basically double what was available in our mortgage, so we could do this for cash, which is not a common thing, obviously. And we are smart with our money, and we were able to put a lot into this.
So construction financing. You guys are funding this. Wow, good for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's also terrifying, can I just say?
Yeah.
Yes, it's very terrifying.
Always
I literally
is.
say to my husband on a daily basis, I'm like, we're good, right? We're good. I'm like, are we freaking out yet? He's like, babe, we're good. I'm like, all right, okay, I'm just checking. Yeah. But when it comes to zoning, so he made a really, really good connection with the city of Thorold. And our property is zoned agriculture.
Yeah.
But our property prior to purchasing it years and years ago also had a small vineyard on it. So we are going to be planting some vines as well for some grapes. But because this is also going to be as an Airbnb to bring people not from Niagara to come to Niagara, to invest in Niagara, because we're connecting with a lot of local places, and we live out in the country. So we're going to have opportunity for like hikes and going out in the trails, doing outdoor yoga, meditation, that kind of stuff, and really bringing it back to like nature with health and fitness. It allowed us to do this as an agro-tourism build.
Very cool.
Which is out of the norm, but we're really excited about it.
So this is
totally different.
This is huge. So what you just said, I guarantee you, and tell me if I'm wrong, was not what you thought of that night.
Absolutely not of.
So things start to unfold, and you have to pivot a little bit. Like that's
what you've done multiple times,
Yeah.
successfully.
But that's
you will
huge.
again. There's the reinsurance right there.
That's huge, right? Is you find ways to still stay cohesive in terms of what the mission is, the business, and what you're trying to accomplish, but you pivot along the way, and you find value adds that aren't visible. You don't have that clarity in the beginning, but you start to understand it, adapt, pivot as you go.
Yeah.
And any smart entrepreneur I've ever met in my life has to be good at that.
Yeah.
You have to, right? As much as rolling with the punches. I mean, it kind of is rolling with the punches, right? So that's why I'm asking these questions, is I've been there. I've had similar outlooks and almost been a little timid by some of the things that could arise or did arise. So that's pretty cool that you guys have gotten this far and arrived to where you're currently at with it. So
we're excited to come
excited to see it. Actually, yeah, it sounds sweet.
I will be there. Maybe not to work
You
out.
guys can host an event there.
But
You
events,
can come
there you go.
Yeah,
Event
absolutely.
space rather than just the gym. I like it. 'Cause
Exactly,
the
yeah.
gym is my nemesis.
Yeah.
But I've been motivated in talking to you.
Yeah.
Now, where can everyone find you? Just because I know that you're a busy person, obviously,
Yep.
that you got going on. So we want to give your details out here and wrap this up for everybody.
So just my Instagram is where I usually post most of my stuff. So there's a few different ones, but ashleymathewson.co, that's my personal one. Fit Collective STC is the gym. And then the newest one is the Yard.social club, which is where the event space is going to be featured.
We're going to post it down we'll make sure that all those links are visible.
Awesome.
I would think, it'd be nice to have you back with, what's your husband's name, sorry?
Jim.
It'd be nice to have them back with Jim to hear about how this has actually come to fruition.
Yeah.
Because it's exciting. I don't know
is
of
very
anybody
exciting,
else. Niagara needs more of that.
Yeah.
It needs more.
Not just in Old Town Niagara on the lake.
Right.
It needs,
But if you look around in Niagara right now, like there are spaces that you can rent. There's White Oaks that you can go to, and you can get the pool, you can get the fitness center, the spa and all that stuff, but there's nothing outdoors. You can go to Pillar and Post and you can get a little bit of an outdoor activity, but you can't bring the
and
spa
you're by the
outside.
highway. Like it's not the
Right.
same. Not to shoot down any business.
Of course, yeah.
But what you like, maybe it's the Christmas tree behind you all bright, but whatever you're saying right now is
very cool.
Excuse me, is
it's unique, it's new,
it's exciting.
And it's exciting.
Yeah.
Like I want to go check it out. I feel like you guys are gonna do it in a way that's going to be very inviting.
That's the goal.
And obviously accomplish the multitude of different sort of facets on your spectrum. So thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you
and
guys for
I think
having
we got to
me.
have her back.
Yeah.
For sure. Once we're ready to
We'll
rock.
invite Jim.
Again, thank you so much for joining us today. Guys, thank you. And we hope to see you again soon on our next episode. Everyone have a great day.